The idea of Donald Trump returning to the White House has kind of brought up this conversation about will they embrace this idea about taking some of the stuff out of DC, pushing it to the states, giving you funding in state block grants. Can that happen quickly enough where that gives you some ability this session, or does it take too long?
I think that you've already seen President Trump indicate that giving states more power when it comes to block grants. And actually, and I should have touched on this when we were talking about the new committee that was created with higher education. I did create one other committee that I don't know if it's gotten as much attention as higher ed, obviously, but is the federal and other funds budget subcommittee. My objective on that is exactly what you're asking about, Dave. Is we have an opportunity with this administration and a pretty historic election outcome that we saw in Washington, D.C., and quite frankly, across the country in a lot of states, to take advantage of this administration, hopefully finding willing partners. As I said earlier, the federal government under the last 4 years, if we ever wanted a waiver or any sort of a block grant from anything, we probably weren't going to get it here in Iowa. But I created that committee with the expectation of finding ways in which Iowa is treated just like New York and California, and saying, you know what, federal government, we think we can do something better than just you giving us this cookie cutter lack of creativity and responsiveness. And so I actually created that committee with the intention in mind of, and what I'd love to see, whether it's multiple bills, whether it's this session, whether it's next session, is submitting something to the federal government in which we'd be requesting block grants for certain things that we feel are too highly regulated, too many strings attached, that we feel we could do in a different way than the feds currently are. So that's one of the things that I think you could see, and my goal would be coming from this next General Assembly.
And do you already have topics in mind for that? Like, is it education? Is it other
I
stuff?
think at this point, I think it's everything. Most of the groups that I've been meeting with at this point in time, that I've said, if there's things at the federal level that are making it hard for us here in Iowa, whether it's to do business, whether it's to grow, or if it's budget related with our departments, if there's those things that we need to be getting some more control of as a states, maybe it's regulatory. It may not just be budget. I don't know that, but let's make those requests under the Trump administration while we have this opportunity with large majorities here. And my expectation would be a willing administration in Washington.